Hello friends, welcome to Drishti IAS Prelims Quick Revision Course 2023 and myself Abhishek Mishra, and in this I will be taking up the mapping section for places that have been in news. So let me just take you through the important things or features of this quick revision course program of Drishti IAS. Now this will be in live online format and will be available to you through the Drishti Learning App. Now when I say IAS Prelims Quick Revision Course, the idea is to revise the syllabus in very short time, very pinpointedly and in a time bound manner. So the program has been designed in that manner only, and it is for quick revision and in a time bound fashion. Now this program will be available to you through the Drishti Learning App. As I told you earlier, the program will be having 1 year validity, so it will be available in your account for 1 year and for unlimited viewing time. Also, along with this quick revision course, you will also be getting access to tests of GS and CSET from the Drishti test series program as well. Now coming to the mapping section of current affairs, we know that map based questions are often asked by UPSC, and generally these questions are about various places that have been in news for some or the other reason. For example, we can say that the places where important summits have taken place, where important conferences have taken place, so those places become important. Similarly, places where important geographical phenomena or geological phenomena has taken place. For example, you know that the recent earthquake in Turkey. So these are the places which have been in news and become important from exam point of view. So in these classes we will be covering these places. This map based current affairs for UPSC Prelims 2023 will be covered in 3 to 4 classes as per the topics we will be covering. Now in this, the important summits and conferences, natural phenomena, important visits, high level visits. For example, recently in the 26th January, the President of Egypt was our chief guest. So Egypt, we will see its location and the nearby places as well. So this will be the way we will be covering the map based current affairs. Now let me give you a sneak preview of what we will be doing in these classes and how it will be helpful for your prelims preparation, right. So for example, we have this G20 Summit 2022. Now mind it, this is G20 Summit 2022, which was hosted by Indonesia at Bali. Now India is going to host the 2023 summit. So we should be aware about the summit which has already taken place in 2022 and also the summit which is going to be hosted by India this year in 2023. Now this summit was hosted by Indonesia at Bali and it was the 17th annual summit of G20. The theme of the summit was Recover Together, Recover Stronger. Now we should be aware about the location. If any location based question is asked by UPSC, we should be aware about the location of Indonesia and also of Bali, right. So Bali is somewhere located here and we can see the capital of Indonesia, Jakarta, is there. Then this is the island which is Borneo Island, and Indonesia, you should also be knowing that it is moving its capital from Jakarta to Nusantara, which is in Borneo Island, and the reason is because Jakarta is sinking, right. So it is not that we will be covering only that specific news, but we will also be learning about some related points, right, which will make your preparation for prelims that much more stronger. So here we can see Indonesia, then Malaysia is there, at this very tip we have Singapore, right, and the Malacca Strait is also located here. So while looking at the map, all the important relevant points we will be considering. So that will be our mode of operation in these classes, quick revision classes of map. Now, here we also need to keep in mind that recover together, recover stronger, that was the theme of G20 Bali Summit 2022. Now, the G20 Summit in 2023 is going to be hosted by India, and here the theme is One Earth, One Family, One Future, right. So, we should be knowing both the things about the G20 Summit hosted by Indonesia in 2022, because question can be asked about the 2022 Summit and also about the summit that is to be hosted by India in 2023. And the theme is One Earth, One Family, One Future. The theme of the Bali Summit was Recover Together, Recover Stronger. Also, here one phrase is also there, which is Vasudhaiv Kutumbakam, which basically means the world is one family, right. So, this much information at least we should be knowing. Then there are related things about G20 which will be covering in these classes. For example, the G20 Troika, which includes the former president, which is or the outgoing president, which is Indonesia, the incumbent president, which is India, and the incoming president, which is Brazil. So, in G20 Troika at present we have Indonesia, then we have India and Brazil, and this is the first time that G20 Troika is entirely made up of developing countries, right. So, these are some important facts that we should be knowing and we will be covering in these classes. At the same time, G20, because it does not have a secretariat or headquarter, that is why G20 Sherpas also play a major role in the G20 summits, and to provide continuity to the agenda, G20 Troika as well as G20 Sherpas play an important role, and India's G20 Sherpa is Mr. Amitabh Kant, right, the former CEO of Niti Aayog. So, at least this much information we will be covering, and by also look at the map. So, this will be our way of going through these mapping classes. 19 countries plus 1, that is European Union, okay. 19 countries plus European Union. So, these 19 countries, how to remember them? So, these 19 countries include G7, the 7 countries which are part of G7, okay. And there is an acronym to remember it, the G7 countries, which is you are having a good friend with whom you are having juice, right. So, it is Germany, France, Japan, then you have US, Italy, Canada and England. So, these are 7 countries, right. Then in these 19 countries you also have the BRICS countries, right. So, BRICS are again 5 countries, you have Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, okay. So, 7 plus 5, 12 countries are there. Now, we need to know 7 more countries which are part of G20. So, these 7 countries you can just remember by this name SAMIT, Summit, okay. And here S2 and A2. So, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, T is for Turkey or Turkey, the new name of Turkey, and I stands for Indonesia, M stands for Mexico. There are 2 A's, so one A is for Australia, the other A is for Argentina, one S is for South Korea and the other S is for Saudi Arabia, right. Now, you can count. So, we have 7 countries of G7, 5 countries of BRICS, 7 plus 5 12, 12 South Korea 13, Saudi Arabia 14, Mexico 15, then we have Australia 16, Argentina 17, Indonesia 18 and Turkey 19, plus 1 is European Union, right. So, this is G20 plus G7 countries that we have seen. Now, coming to the 48th G7 summit, where was it hosted? So, it was hosted by Germany at a resort city or resort town of Schloss Elmau, right. So, this was in Schloss Elmau, Germany, and the theme of G7 summit was progress towards an equitable world, right. This was the theme. So, let us look at the location of Germany, right, and this place is located somewhere here, right, towards the south of Germany. So, here in Germany we can see some other places also, right, the capital Bonn, right, and some other places are also there. Berlin is also there, right. It is actually Berlin. So, we can see the location of Germany, and here in this map we can see in the world map the G7 countries, right, the 7 countries, the 7 advanced countries. So, if we start from here, we can see Japan is here. Then in Europe we have 4 members: Italy, France, Germany and United Kingdom or England. Then we have United States of America and Canada, right. So, 4 from Europe, 2 from North America and 1 from the Northeast Asia, right. So, these together make up for the 7 countries G7. For some time G7 was also G8 when Russia was included in the G7 grouping, but then Russia was expelled after it annexed Crimea, right. So, the annexation of Crimea by Russia led to its ouster from G7 and it again reverted to G7. Here we can see more clearly the SEO map. So, we have India, Pakistan, China, Russia, Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, Kyrgyzstan, Tajikistan, and the 9th member is going to be Iran, right. So, here we have Iran. So, this is the SEO members. The last summit was hosted by Uzbekistan at Samarkand. This year's summit is going to be hosted by India. And another important thing about the SEO summits is every year SEO has 2 important summits. One is the head of state summit, right. This is the highest decision making body, and the other is the heads of government. Right, and this is for actually more routine decisions. So, the topmost decision making body is head of state summit. India has earlier hosted this one, but this year in 2023 India is going to host this one, the top decision making body. So, India is going to host it in 2023, right. So, this we should be knowing about the SEO summit. Okay. Now, we are aware that a very severe earthquake has taken place in Turkey, right. Earlier Turkey was known as Turkey, but Turkey has changed its name to Turkey. In Turkish language it is anyways pronounced as Turkey only, but in English it was called Turkey, and the name Turkey was actually not right, and there were cultural reasons for the name change as well, right. So, Turkey has changed its name to Turkey. So, now it is known as Turkey, and recently it suffered from a very devastating earthquake. 2 earthquakes came of 7.6 and 7.8 magnitude. So, Turkey becomes important, we need to know its location, right, the Anatolian region. Here we can see the important water bodies also, Black Sea, Aegean Sea, right, and here we have the important what we call straits as well. Okay. Here we have the Caspian Sea also, right. Then we have Cyprus, right, Syria, So, the earthquake has come in this region, right, which is this part of Turkey and also part of Syria. Right. So, here we can see that two major earthquakes of 7.5 magnitude and 7.8 magnitude, right, the first one and the second one, they came at this place. Here what is also important is that India has rushed humanitarian assistance and disaster relief under Operation Dost, right. So, sometimes this can also be asked in exam, that which operation or India has offered its assistance to Turkey under which operation. So, it is Operation Dost, right. So, we will be covering these kind of important events as well, like the place was in news because of this important event that happened, right, very devastating earthquake. So, this is also important from exam point of view. So, we will be covering it, right. So, I have just given you an idea how we will be going about covering important places in news in these 3 to 4 classes, and we will be covering it in a way that we are able to answer any question which is asked, location based question is asked in exam from current affairs. So, this is it from my side. Thank you.